They will view this kind of investment opportunity positively.
Question number 5, Dr Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Acting Minister...
Order. I've called Dr Kennedy Graham.
To the Acting Minister for Energy and Resources. Does she agree with the Prime Minister who said, quote, companies like Solid Energy are growth companies and we want them to expand in areas like lignite conversion?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Acting Minister of Energy and Resources, yes, but also the statement by the Prime Minister that Solid Energy would need to comply with the environmental controls of both the Resource Management Act and the Climate Change Response Act.
Dr Kennedy Graham.
So when Ministers Smith and Carter expect the Green Growth Advisory Group to advise how we can transition to a low-carbon economy, does she regard Solid Energy's estimated annual carbon emissions of 10 to 20 million tonnes from the lignite project, on top of our current 70 million tonnes, to be an opportunity or a threat to such a transition?
The Honourable
Mr
Dr
Speaker,
Nick Smith.
the first thing is the Solid Energy proposal is for quite a small briquette plant. And if we put that briquette plant into context, over the last year, 1,400 megawatts of new renewable energy capacity has been consented. The briquette plant in energy terms would be about 1/30th of that.
Dr Kennedy Graham.
Is the Acting Minister aware of her mistake during question time on 18 May that coal mining is not eligible for free ETS credits? And does she now recognise that downstream processing of lignite into other products is eligible, so extracting coal would be indirectly subsidised by free credits?
The Honourable
Speaker,
Dr Nick Smith.
The Climate Change Response Act does provide for an allocation for particular industries that are competitiveness exposed. I, in my role as Minister for the Environment, not the Acting Energy Minister, would have to make a decision as to whether those tests would be met. There's currently no application, so it's quite premature to be speculating on whether they would or would not be eligible.
Mr. Speaker.
Dr Kennedy Graham.
How does the Acting Minister reconcile the statement by Minister English that, quote, government would look favourably at helping fund Solid Energy's multi-million-dollar lignite projects in Southland as long as they were commercially and environmentally robust, with that by Minister Smith that, quote, the world spends hundreds of billions of dollars a year subsidising fossil fuels and pollution. If we're serious about addressing climate change in the most efficient way, we need to be discussing a phase-out of such support?
The Honourable
Mr.
Dr
Speaker,
Nick Smith.
The member takes the Minister of Finance's comments quite out of context. They were not in the form of any subsidy for Solid Energy, but rather people making a choice to invest in that company. In terms of the broader question of New Zealand's clean green brand and the use of lignite, I would draw to the attention of the House that New Zealand's use of lignite is less than 1/50th per capita of Australia, less than 1/36th of that of Germany, less than 1/16th of that of Canada's, i.e. New Zealand's use of lignite resource is very small, even on a per capita basis.
Dr Kennedy Graham.
Mr. Speaker, to the Acting Minister, even if it is 1/50th per capita of Australia, to which of the following national interests, nonetheless, does she think the 3 billion or so cubic metres of overburden that the lignite project will bequeath to Southland scenery above ground will contribute the most? Our tourist industry, our agricultural land, our clean green brand export leverage, or our UN reputation as a fast follower?
The Honourable Dr Nick
Mr.
Smith.
Speaker, the briquette plant that's being proposed in Southland for the use of lignite is actually a substantially more efficient way of using that lignite resource than what is currently taking place, where the lignite is being quite generally inefficiently burnt in a number of industrial establishments. I think where the government differs from the Green Party is that they take a view that New Zealand has to be purer than pure, that we will not take any advantage of New Zealand's energy resources, and that would simply much rather we import over 5 billion litres a year of fossil fuels offshore rather than using some of our own resources.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Supplementary. Will the acting minister ascertain from the Minister of Economic Development whether MED is, as reported, an associate member of the Coal Association, and if it is, whether MED will either withdraw or join the Wind Association, Wind Energy Association, Solar Industries Association, Aotearoa Water and Tidal Energy Association and Bioenergy Association?
The Honourable Dr.
Mr.
Nick Smith.
Speaker, I'm not sure it's the responsibility of government as to what energy associations particular people or organisations we're members of. I think we are one of a society that values freedom of association and people being members of the organisations they choose.
Point of order.
Point of order, Dr. Kennedy Graham.
The question was relating to associate membership not by individuals or organisations but a government department.
I invite the member to repeat his question. Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Will the acting minister ascertain from the Minister of Economic Development, who is responsible for his ministry, whether MED is, as reported, an associate member of the Coal Association, and if it is, whether his ministry, MED, will either withdraw or join the Wind Energy Association, Solar Industries Association, Aotearoa Water and Tidal Energy Association and the Bioenergy Association?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, as standing in for the acting minister, I'm sure that she'd be happy to have a discussion with the Minister of Economic Development, but I'd dare to emphasise that organisations should be free to be associated with those they choose.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Given that MED is paying the Coal Association to lobby the Ministry for the Environment on the ETS, should MFE, in balancing economic opportunity with environmental responsibility, pay the Wind Energy Association and Bioenergy Association to lobby MED?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I would ask the member to note that the government funds quite extensively the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority, and it has views on such issues. There are a wide range of views. Wearing my other hat as Minister responsible for Climate Change Act and also climate policy, I've had absolutely no lobbying from the Coal Association in the last 12 months about any aspect of climate change policy.
Is this point of order, Dr. Kennedy Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to seek leave of the House to table a document pertaining to an exchange of correspondence between the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment and the Acting Minister on the issue of ETS credits and coal mining, which makes it clear that downstream indirect, what we would call subsidising, does take place, or can take place.
Those documents, is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 6, the Honourable Marion Street.
Thank you, Mr.